This is Beyond the Cot, a weekly podcast connecting the packs of F3 Knoxville and beyond through invigorating male community leadership, through fitness, fellowship, and faith.
Avengers!
Assemble.
38 school zone.
School zone. 34 strip.
40 kickflip.
Kickflip.
56 high heels.
High heels. Respect.
37 trunk.
The F3 Knoxville Beyond the Cot podcast starts right now.
Welcome on and all to your Beyond the Cot, to the weekly launch point episode. This is your first FQ, Arthur Diaz, 35, OnStar. And today, due to life circumstances, we're not going to have Blindside here with us. We're not going to have Steam here with us. They both are tied up with some family obligations. But we've got a very special guest instead, our very own Nantan, Kickflip. Kickflip, my man, how are you?
Yes, sir. Thrilled to be with you, man. Thank you so much for the invite.
It's a pleasure. Pleasure to have you. So tell us, how's your weekend been going? Excited for the week? What do you have for us?
Yeah, weekend's going well. My wife's parents are here, so we're entertaining them and hanging out, just making memories, doing good things. You know who I saw today, though? This made my whole weekend. I bumped into none other than Ted Ancelet, 51, I think, Captain Crunch, the founder of F3 Knoxville.
All
I
right.
just ran into him, and you know him.
Yeah.
That dude, such a good dude, and such an inspiration, such an encourager. He's one of these guys. I saw him at Sam's with his wife, and down the aisle, right? He's like all the way at the other end of the aisle. I see him turn, and he's walking towards me, and that just puts a big old smile on my face. Like,
Yeah.
I love this dude, and big old hug. And actually got to meet his wife for the first time, Tracy.
Oh, okay.
She is wonderful. And anyway, really cool to bump into one guy that I just have such admiration for and such appreciation for everything he's done for F3.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, the man brought it here, right? For those of you who do not know, he started F3 Knoxville, almost 8 years ago now, right?
That's right.
He started at Asylum, Lakeshore Park.
Right.
And we've been spreading out ever since. But the man he's amazing. I've had the opportunity to meet him, to hear him speak,
Right.
to hear him at a workshop that he did for some of the F3 men. And I get it. I get why you say a major weekend to see him. So that is awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
How about you, brother? How about you? Good weekend?
Great weekend. Got to do the almost 8 mile ruck yesterday, organized by Blindside.
Oof.
Yeah. Blindside has got some big plans. He wants to do a Ragnar style marathon ruck or run throughout all the AOs in Knoxville. So we're doing an exploratory rucking so far. He already done another segment. I don't remember which AOs he covered, but now this weekend we explored the route to go from Shamrock to Asylum.
Yeah.
So that was fun. That was interesting. We had a good group. We had Glamper with us. We had Eliza. We had Mermaid, our second FQ.
Yeah.
So it was a fun event. Kind of exhausting, but
Yeah.
pretty cool. So it was, all in all, it was a great weekend.
Good, man.
All right, so let's dive into what we had at the newsletter. Kickflip, we've finished now the first 2 quadrants of the QSource, right?
Yes.
And we're starting the third one.
Yes.
So we went through live right, to get right and live right, and now to lead right.
Right.
Awesome. So
yeah, and the F3 QSource says that they build on each other, right? That you don't live right until you get right. You don't lead right until you live right. You don't ultimately quadrant 4 leave a legacy until you've done all those things. That they actually happen in sequence, right?
All right.
So I'm thrilled. I like quadrant 3 the most, and I think it's most closely aligned with what our mission is to invigorate male leadership, and it's all about the skills and virtues of leaders. So I'm excited. It's going to be 12 weeks, going through these next 12 Q points. It's going to be good, man.
All right. And it opens with 3 questions, right? What enables a man to do what a leader does?
Mm.
What makes a man what a leader is? And what
Mm.
is the difference between a good and bad leader?
Mm.
Any thoughts on those questions, Kickflip?
Man, oh, nothing that I can articulate right now, right? What is the difference between a good and a bad leader? It's such an interesting question because I think, what we want to say is that a guy who's a nice guy is a good leader, but that's not the case.
Right.
Or a guy who's a jerk is probably a bad leader. That's not the case. Good and bad are kind of neutral when it comes to personality.
Right.
And if you look at just the virtues of leadership, it's something totally different. So, how
Yeah,
about you, man? Which one of those questions jumps out at you?
I'm always questioning what makes a man what a leader is, and even just how to really define a leader. Like,
Yeah.
we often hear, do you have or do you not have leadership qualities? Can you develop or can you not develop leadership qualities?
Yes.
And first of all, I believe you can. I believe these are skills and traits that can be developed.
Right.
But it's something that is so hard to define. It's a good leader is one of those things where, like, when you're in the presence of one.
Yes.
Like, you can feel it. It's one of those things that's almost intangible. And then obviously you can nail down what virtues and habits a leader builds, but it's interesting to explore that, to see where each of us can improve as a leader.
Yes.
For example, I know that my number one issue with leadership is delegation, because one, I feel that I need to be on top of everything. And two, I feel like, well, if I can't do it, or if I don't want to do it, or if I'm too busy to do it, I shouldn't be counting on other people. And I know that that's an issue on my side, but I think learning the virtues and the habits that make a leader is something essential to be able to look at yourself and be like, okay, where do I need to improve?
Yes. I got a question for you.
Oh.
You said you're always thinking about what makes a leader. If you weren't cheating and looking forward at the 4 skills and the 5 virtues that F3 defines
Right.
as these skills and virtues, what would you say is the number one skill that makes a man a leader? If I'm putting you on the spot, what does
Okay.
Arthur Diaz think?
Okay. My first response would be the ability to make people believe in a vision, or buy into a vision. To be able to point to a vision and be like, okay, this is it. This is why. Come with me and we're going to get there. I think that's a very important quality on a leader. Be able to not only have that vision, but sell it to people and show why. I think is essential. And obviously be willing to lead, be willing to be the one taking the charge in that.
Yes.
So that would be my answer, without trying to cheat, without looking up. What about you?
I am in lockstep with you, man. That's exactly what I was thinking. The number one skill. And I think it's important to go back to what you just said. I'm 100% in agreement with this as well. You can learn it.
Right.
You can learn it. I think there's all this perception, maybe, that leaders are somehow born leaders, and nothing could be further from the truth, right?
Yeah.
You can learn to cast vision and articulate vision, and it's mostly through practice. And that's the beautiful thing about F3, is that it gives you better than any organization I've ever known. Opportunities to do things like that. So
Yeah. It really does.
anyway,
All right, moving on to our T-claps for the week. So we're going to get started with Outnumbered because he did his VQ at Rampart on Saturday. So again, if this is the first time you're listening here and you're new to F3, a VQ is the virgin queue. It's the first time a man leads a workout. So we had Outnumbered doing his first one at Rampart this Saturday, which is always awesome. If you haven't done your first queue yet, do it. Look up to the man in your AO, talk to your AOQ, talk to someone you feel comfortable with, ask for help. My first VQ was a co-queue with Wedding Singer. I was getting ready to do my VQ at Big Ball, and he came up to me and suggested, hey, do you want to do it with me? And it was awesome. We actually, since I'm Brazilian, we did a World Cup teamed during the World Cup, and I think it was one of the first matches Brazil was playing. So
it's great.
Yeah. How about you, Kickflip? How was your VQ?
My VQ, man, I haven't thought about it in ages, but it was a little over 4 years ago. It was, I had just come back from a work trip in Vegas, and I did a Vegas-themed queue up at the project.
That sounds like fun.
It was good, man.
Awesome.
It was good.
Yep. All of us, it's the classic, we all start somewhere. Don't be afraid of it. Ask for help. The guys are always going to be willing to help.
Right.
And hey, if you have any questions, reach out to me on Slack. I'm always willing to help. Just be ready to be cussed at, because if I help you, it's probably going to be a little brutal and people are going to complain about it, but oh well, that's part of it.
That's part of it. You'll learn to, as the Q, you'll learn, if you're like me, to relish in that. I love it.
I noticed, based on doing the first metric workout again that was planned by you, I'm pretty sure you do.
Oh, those moans and groans and cursing under your breath, that's music to my ears. I love it.
All right. So you've heard it here from the Nantan himself. He's out to torture y'all.
Yeah.
All right. We have the T-claps to our dear Weasel Shaker Blindside for putting together the Ghost Flag Challenge, which is currently at the F3 Smokies region, and we have to take it back. It's at the South Sono AO, which is in South Doyle High School. They only meet on Monday mornings, meaning hopefully by the time this podcast goes out, guys from F3 Knoxville have already gone there and taken it back. So let's see if that happens, and then we're going to see to which AO it goes. Blindside will be posting as the Ghost Flag itself on the Slack, so you'll be able to follow where it is at. This is going to be fun, having this challenge of keeping the flag in your AO.
Yeah.
I just really hope the guys from Rampart don't get it anytime soon. So T-claps to good parts of our social media team: Medium, Ratchets team, Guardrails, and others. I think Cornhole did a great job taking pictures in the convergence, and other guys who have shot, edited, or posted new photos. The website is looking great. If you haven't checked out, go check it out now. Kickflip, how old were the other pictures that were there before?
Man, they were probably 5 years old at least. And it was funny, man. You look at some of those, and those guys look, 5 years younger, but some of them just changed a lot. Like Steam looked like he was 15 years old.
Yes, Steam looked like a teenager in those pictures.
He almost was, I think he's 29 now, so he's in his early mid-20s. But it's fun. Yeah, some of those guys are like, whoa.
But
that guy's changed, but updated pictures. They look really good, man.
Yeah, they really do. The guys did a great job. So T-claps to all of them. We have the T-claps for our dear SLT, the Shared Leadership Team.
Yeah.
We got together last Thursday to plan, to coordinate what's coming up for the next few months. Kickflip, you wanna explain to someone who's maybe new in FNG who's listening to us, what is the SLT? what roles are in the team?
Yeah, man. Thank you. The shared leadership team for F3 Knoxville. We call it the SLT. It's all of there's 22 members. All of the AOQs, there's 15 of those. So every area workout has an AOQ, the leader of that workout. That man is a member of the shared leadership team. In addition to those 15, there's a first FQ, a guy over fitness, Mr. Onstar Arthur Diaz. Second FQ, the guy over all the fellowship. Third FQ, over all of our faith initiatives. We have a treasure and tech Q, that's Wax Job. We have a social comms Q who does social media and communications. We have a weasel shaker who's kind of our jack of all trades, spreadsheet loving guy, get stuff done kind of guy. And who am I missing? Nantan. And I might be missing one. Am I? I think that's it.
I think that's it. I believe so. I believe
Yeah.
those are the positions. We have a position open for the regional ruck queue
Yes.
because we have the Grow Ruck event next year here in Knoxville, and we have a budding rocking coach here in Knoxville, and we're trying to expand that. So if you're interested, if you want to be the regional ruck queue, reach out to our Onstar and Kickflip and come join us. I promise. Sometimes there's even cookies.
Yeah. You just made me remember we did miss somebody, and it's our newest position. He's been there the shortest amount of time. We created a position a few weeks ago, the Veterans Outreach Queue.
You're right.
And Soot is that guy.
Yep.
And his role, he's actually put a little team together, but their role is specifically to reach out to veterans in the community. So that guy.
Yeah. And lastly, but definitely not least, we have T-Claps to the man who helped Andrea Phelps, the widow to our fallen brother Cardinal, to move into her new home on Saturday. We had Outnumbered, Lucille, Wingman, Airborne, Spielberg, Piston, Stetson, Mathlete, Comfort Zone, Mailbox, Cornhole, and Biohack, all helping out, with extra T-Claps to Skeletor for coordinating. And the whole support that we've provided to Andrea and the whole reaction just made me so proud of F3 Knoxville and F3 as a whole. It's heartwarming to see all that's been done, all that continues to be done, and all the support that we can and should provide to a brother who's sadly passed away and left a family. And it's great to see that the guys really come together to help however we can.
What an awesome thing to do, be able to do.
Yeah.
And what a sweet time it was, serving Andrea, the widow, and these two young kids. A few months ago, we went into this home and painted nearly every room inside the home to just get it ready for a little girl and a preteen boy, paint their bedrooms for them, get them set up, and then moving their furniture in over the weekend. I loved that I got to bring my 12-year-old and 10-year-old sons and kind of put them to work, put the receptacle plates on and And then we got to talk afterwards about the honor, the privilege of serving widows, a widow in her distress. And so, it led to some really deep, meaningful conversations with my kids. So that's cool.
Yeah. That's really cool because if you think about it, the Bible has so many passages talking about the importance of service to widows and to orphans and so on, that it really is an honor and a duty to be able to provide this kind of service and to be of help. So T-Claps to the men who are involved and for all that has been done. This has been awesome to see.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so let's keep moving with the key dates for what we have coming up. We have the 2.0 workout that's going to happen at the project on July 22nd, 7:30 a.m., led by none other than Biohack. So if you haven't been to the project yet, it's at Bissell Park in Oak Ridge, right?
Yep.
And I've never been to a 2.0 workout kickflip. What does that involve? You bring the kids, bring
Well,
the family.
you just bring your daughter out to this one, man. What is she, 8 weeks old?
13 weeks old now. She'll be
13
by
weeks
then.
old. Time for she's overdue for her first workout. It is a great time, man. There's a probably 5 or 6 guys who regularly go bring their kids. So the kids have gotten to know each other and become friends.
Right.
And my kids, we've got a standing conflict now. We haven't been in a number of months, but they used to just look forward to seeing these kids, their friends, and running around with them. A lot of times we make the workouts are competitive, kids versus dads, and they somehow weight it where the kids have it a little bit easier, and the kids just love that they can beat the dads in some kind of race or whatever
Right.
whatever it is. And then we nearly always finish up with breakfast for them. Either it's less than half a mile from Dunkin' Donuts, so we'll go grab donuts, or we'll make pancakes, or we'll do something like that. And it's a sweet time to not only work out with your kid and other kids, but like I said, for my family now, to have fellowship with these other families, and it's really, a lot of good growth, depth. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's really awesome to see some of the F3 events that bring families out. I remember one of the first events that I went was a cookout at Victor Ashe Park last year.
Yes.
And there were some events just for the 2.0s, like races and stuff. And I remember watching Lily Dipper have a blast doing that, playing with the kids and stuff. So it's really awesome and a really good time for the family.
Yeah.
We also have this week, in the next couple of weeks, a new tool coming on, the PAX Miner, which will be great for a lot of things, including to make it much easier to post backblasts. Instead of you having to go through the WordPress site and post them, you'll be able to post them straight through Slack. If you want to test it right now, you already can. You go to the Slack channel called PAX Miner-testing, type /backblast, and hit enter. You will see that the app guides you step by step through the backblast. So it'll ask who's on queue, what was done, who was there, if there's FNGs in the workout. If you have any questions, you're going to be able to talk to our AOQs. We're going to have a video out with a tutorial on how to use it. But it's going to be great because it's going to allow us to track who's been coming, who has not been posting, who posts in different locations. It'll give us a great view of the activity in F3 Knoxville. How do you feel about this coming on a kickflip?
Dude, I'm excited. Super excited. I know there's going to be some growing pains. There always is. You bring on a new tool, especially an IT kind of thing, and it's going to like, what's this? Why are we changing? And if you all remember, back in January, we implemented Q signups. We used to sign up on the WordPress calendar, and there was a little bit of that. It's kind of a little bit clunky the first few weeks, but then everybody catches the rhythm of it, and it works out. And now I'm like, I love Q signups. It's great, really slick, really easy to use. And I think after a few months, we'll be saying that about PAX Miner. This is great. It's easier to post a backblast. And then, like you were saying, I'm real excited about some of the stuff in the background that we can extract out,
right,
to see who hasn't been posting for a few months. Those are the guys we need to make sure we're reaching out to, and it even makes some little competition out of it. You'd be able to see who posted the most times, who traveled to the most AOs, who did, again, I thrive on competition. So stuff like even stuff like that will just kind of I think excite some guys. So,
all right. There's one event coming up that I want you to talk about. The name has been causing some discussions. F3 in the nude. July 29th at 7 a.m. What is that all about, Kickflip?
Oh man, so I love that we've been talking about it, or we've just been offering these little nuggets of information, these tantalizing, pieces. Because I've heard so many guys go, "What is this?" And then it's only 2 weeks away. In fact, while we're recording this, less than 2 weeks ago, it's probably time for us to start telling guys what this actually is. We've had our fun. We've had our fun with it.
Fair enough.
It's the brainchild of Mermaid and Slappy. And I think I was there when they started talking about it and just giggling about how funny it would be to have a workout. If I remember right, Mermaid did a workout very similar to what the vision is for this one. Somewhere in South Carolina, he was downrange and posted at an AO that meets on the beach. And then the workout was gloveless, shoeless, shirtless. Of course, you're wearing shorts, but you're in and out of the water. You're in the water, do push-ups, come out of the water, get sandy, back in the water for something else, back in the sand for something else. And so you're just kind of moving in and out of the water, in and out of the sand, having a good time. And there's, some things that we'll be doing are totally unlike anything we've ever done because of those elements, right, that are so unnatural to us. So I've seen kind of a rough sketch of their plan. It looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. So it'll be at the Cove. We don't have very many beach areas in Knoxville, but the Cove at Concord Park in Farragut is a small sandy beach on Fort Loudon Lake. And so we'll be there on the beach, shoeless, gloveless, shirtless if you want to be, but wear your shorts.
Please do.
Hey,
Please
so,
do. We do not need anyone arrested for indecent exposure and then something coming out in the media about F3. We better avoid that.
That's funny.
But the rest of it, yeah. Shirtless, shoeless, gloveless, and let's go. There's going to be a breakfast afterwards, so there's a link to register on the email. So,
have you ever had? Oh yeah, you were at Cardinals Convergence, yes, and you had Junk's the dog pound breakfast.
Oh yes, I have.
Good gracious, man!
Yeah. You are not going to want to miss this, both for the workout and for the breakfast.
I don't know what they're doing this time, but I'll just explain. I remember what it was last time. My mouth is watering talking about it right now. This was 6 months ago. My mouth is watering thinking about the breakfast they cooked after that convergence.
Yep.
Was like fried potatoes, scrambled eggs, cold pork, and then a big ladle of queso over the whole thing.
Yep, that was amazing.
And it was like, oh my gosh.
Yep, that was delicious. So
yeah.
You're not gonna want to miss this.
Yeah.
And on that front, we had a conflict of scheduling. There was gonna be a fitness test for rucking on the same date at the Quakian, but that has been moved to, I think, if I'm not mistaken, August 5th.
Yes,
August 5th. So there will no longer be an overlap. So you want to go to F3 in the nude and to the ruck workout, you get to do both. I know I will. So don't miss out. Go register. If you can contribute to the costs of the breakfast, there's the F3 Knoxville Venmo, correct? At F3 Knoxville.
Yes.
But we'll all be there, and this is going to be a lot of fun. And finally, coming up, we still have also the Dad's Camp at Camp Ocoee. Deadline to register is August 1st. Deadline to get a shirt is July 24th. If you want to know more, if you need more information, we've discussed this a little bit on previous podcasts, but Fullhouse and Gibbler are the ones leading this. So if you need more information, feel free to reach out to them. Kickflip, you've ever been with your 2.0s to this camp?
I haven't. I've been disappointed 3 years in a row. We have conflicts come up that weekend. Usually it's travel. We end up going out of town to see one of our sets of parents or whatever. And we've actually got a conflict this year. I was talking to Full House this morning about it. I said, we've got a conflict where we're supposed to be traveling. and I'm working on the wife. I'm trying to talk her into like, can we move this one weekend or, because I would love to go and it looks like a ton of fun. I hear stories every time they come back. They're just like, everybody had a great time. The kids had a great time. So
Right.
I'd love to go, man.
Well, I hope you can next year or some year coming soon. I know I hope to be able to do it when my daughter's a little older.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a lot of fun. It's a weekend with rock climbing, BB guns, archery, swimming, and so on. $115 per person. So the deadline to register is coming up. So if you're willing to go, if you want to go, now's the time to reach out and register for it.
Yeah.
All right. We will be continuing with this month's first half and third half July challenges. The first half is, as you know, 10 minutes per day working on flexibility and mobility. We all want to be working out till we can get respect, double respect, hopefully triple respect. But to do that, we need to be on good shape and we need to avoid injury. So not only push hard, but also make sure that we're getting prepared, we're recovering well. So take 10 minutes every day, work on your mobility, your flexibility. Maybe you're like me and you have knees that are a little bit dodgy out of years of playing tennis or other sports, or maybe you're suffering from some lower back. Look into what you can do. Maybe you look for a physical therapist, maybe you look on YouTube, maybe you reach out to someone that could help you, but look into what you could do to improve your mobility and flexibility. Kickflip, I know you've been working diligently on this one. I've been seeing you post almost every day on it.
Oh man, I stretch every day.
All right.
Work on mobility every day.
Yep. What is your focus? Your lower back?
Lower back, yeah, IT band, kind of that whole, yeah.
I do a lot of backwards walking because of my knees to make sure that my joints are always working. I still do a lot of like bird dog and a few other things for my lower back, especially because I heard it a couple of years ago, deadlifting. So just making sure that I have it all stretched and functioning very well. So we encourage you, continue to do that so you can join the ranks of respect, double respect, and triple respect. And what is respect, Kickflip? Or if we're talking to an FNG, to someone new, what is respect in F3?
Man, respect is what we'll say to a man. If he comes out and does our workouts with us, during the name of Rama, the end, we go around, hospital name, age, F3 name. And for that man who's over 50 years old and joining us and working out with us, when we say his name back to him, then we say respect.
Yep.
If you're over 50 and you're doing this, respect. If you're over 60, respect. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yep. And I think we have some guys over 70, right?
70, yeah.
I think G6 at Big Ball.
That guy is unbelievable. Yep. He can run circles around me, and he's in his 70s, is he not?
Yeah, 73, I think. I could be wrong.
Unbelievable.
He still comes out. He still works out, and we have plenty of guys who are in their 50s, some in their 60s, and killing it. And it's inspiring to see.
Yes, it is, man.
And we also have our third half challenge, which is to have one spiritual conversation about spiritual truth or spiritual life or spiritual struggle with another man during the week. Doesn't need to be an F3 man, could be someone in your family, someone in your church, someone in your community. But the idea is to have one deep conversation about your faith, about your soul, and the soul of another man once per week this month.
Yep.
There's lots of opportunities for that within F3, but again, you can do this at your church, you can do this in a Bible study, you can do this at your work if you have someone you're comfortable enough to talk through this in your family. Just reach out to someone who either you can trust or who you feel like could use some support, and have a heart-to-heart and talk about these important matters with them.
Mm-hmm.
From what you said, Kickflip, you got a chance to do that with your sons at the while you were helping out a cardinal's wife, right? Cardinal's widow.
That's a good point, man. I need to go on there and hit the fist bump or whatever the emotion. Check. Oh, you know what? That was last week, though.
Yep.
We started a new week today.
Yeah. But still you got that done.
Yeah.
And that's another good way. If you have kids, you have boys, go talk to them, be the mentor in their spiritual life. They definitely need you as a leader in that. So we're halfway through the month, so a few AOs have already done it, but we have the first repeat metric workout, first you versus you workout. So if you recorded a score in January, you can try now to beat that score. I've sent the scores of everyone who has recorded to the AOQs. So if you want to ask your AOQ, hey, how well did I do? You can go to them and ask it. But whether you did it or not in January, no, they like today to go ahead and do it and do a hard workout and see how you do.
Yeah.
So Kickflip, this one was your creation, right?
It was. I'll tell you a quick story about it.
All right, please do.
This is the workout that we put together at the project, actually a few years ago, and we had been doing it every 6 months in the project, not as a region, but we're kind of doing the metric thing before there was the regional metric thing. And we did it in June or July of last year. And there's a guy who shows up as an FNG, and he doesn't know anybody. Somebody told us about him.
Okay.
Cosmo told him. He shows up, and I see this guy, and I know what I have planned for the day. And I go shake his hand, and I go, man, I'm sorry. This is going to be a tough first day. And so he sticks with us. He's got a big smile on his face the whole time. And we record his score. So I can tell you his name because I don't think he'll mind me telling the story about him. It's Ocho. That was Ocho's, as an FNG, was the metric workout.
All right.
In I forget, it was June or July of last year. So here it comes January, time to do it as the official metric thing, but it's the same workout, right? So he had already done it before. We're doing the exact same thing. You already know what your last score was. What are you going to do this next time? That dude got really close to doubling his score.
Wow.
He was somewhere like in 260, 270 range, I think.
Right.
The first time he did it. And he was pushing close to 500 his second time.
Nice.
And so in 6 months, the dude's fitness had been transformed. I mean, and if you've seen him, and I've kind of watched, I've watched it happen. I'd love to be around him when somebody he hasn't seen for a year sees him. Because I can tell you, I mean, the dude sticking with it, just doing F3 workouts, he really has, lost weight, owned up, and he just looks fit. So, yeah.
That is awesome.
Big difference for him. So,
if you don't know, listener, Ocho is our third FQ. So you guys just heard the third FQ's origin story right now. So he not only he started with one of the hardest workouts he could have, he stuck around and he improved. So
yes,
T claps to him.
Yes,
I did not know that. That is awesome. So if you haven't done it yet, I know there's a few AOs that haven't. I know Asylum PM has just done it. A few others have done it already, but there's still quite a few to do it. Check out what you have already done. If you haven't yet, do it the first time, no problem. You'll probably have a chance to do it again next year and see if you've improved. It's brutal, but it's worth it. All right. So we come to this week's section of the 100 Swords, which is committing 100 verses of scripture to memory. Kickflip, how did this idea of the 100 Swords come about?
Well, it's something we did up at the project as well.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, I guess, something like that. And it wasn't chasing after 100 verses of scripture, but every week we did one that we were memorizing together. And I think what we did was, I remember this. We were going in January, starting in January, we were going to do 52 weeks, 52 verses. So that's how it worked out.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. And I specifically did it with my children. And we would like quiz each other in the car on the ride somewhere, sitting around in the evenings, just popping through some things. And
Okay.
it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool, man.
That is awesome. And this week's verse on the newsletter is Proverbs 14:15.
Yeah.
The simple believe anything, but the prudent give thought to their steps. So, any comments on that verse? Okay, Flip.
What a practical piece of advice,
Right?
that just be prudent.
Yep.
And give thought to what you're doing. And this is something that I probably need to tell my 12-year-old every single day. let's make it 10 times a day. Just because he's kind of in that mode right now where he just needs to know this, exercise prudence and all that kind of stuff. But what a practical piece of advice. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the beauty of Proverbs, right? It's truly a book of wisdom and a book of practical wisdom at that.
So if you are working on this, I'll give you a little hint or tip, a tip for helping you memorize, if you want to know. So some of this predates Ocho as our third FQ, and started out with Excitebike when he was the third FQ. He was kind of championing this scripture memorization. And we're going week by week. And if you look closely, the passages actually follow the sequence of the week. And sometimes it's the number, and sometimes you got to do a little bit of math. For example, we're on week 29.
Okay.
And the verse is Proverbs 14:15. 14 plus 15 is 29.
Got it.
Last week, the verse was, in the path of righteousness is life, and in his pathway there is no death. Proverbs 12:28, week 28. And so every week, week 21 was Proverbs 21:21. Whoever pursues righteousness and kindness will find life, righteousness, and honor. But it just kind of follows that. So if you started it, with the exception of week one was Proverbs 27:17. Kind of our mantra verse, right? But
yeah. So for anyone who's new to F3, Proverbs 27:17 is, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another, which is very much in tune with F3's mission, with the idea of leave no man behind, but leave no man where you found him.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense that would be the first verse we started with.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's quite fair. But I like the one this week. I love the one last week, the one in the path of righteousness is life, and in its path there is no death. So it's been a great journey with these. And as I've said in the other episodes of the podcast, this can be your launching point for a conversation with another man for your third F challenge. Talk about the verse of the week, about how you feel about it, what you think about it. There's your chance to start a conversation right there. All right, Kickflip, we're coming to an end here. So any messages you'd like to leave for the week, for the F3 Knoxville guys? Any requests, anything you'd like to say?
No, nothing comes to mind.
All right.
Looking forward to being out there with you guys. I'm queuing the Equalizer tomorrow.
All
you
right.
plan on posting?
I generally never do on Mondays. My posting days are Thursday, Tuesday, Saturdays, generally.
Okay. Cool.
But I need to go to more AOs. I have only been to a few. I need to start branching out a little more. And you've already said this on the State of the Region, but we are looking to plant more this year, right? To start planting. We're in the season to start planting more AOs, right?
Yes.
So if you have a passion for leading, for starting something new, come suggest to us. Come talk to us about it. Right, Kickflip?
That's right, man.
It's-
And real briefly, if you haven't listened to the State of the Union, we talk about at the very end is that is our focus, or to get radically refocused on the mission statement, which is to plant, grow, and serve these small workout groups to invigorate males to lead in their communities and their homes. And we talk at the very, very end of the second one. So you've already invested more than 2 hours if you even got there.
Fair. That's true.
If you didn't, if you hung up way long before that, we did talk about planting AOs, and actually talked about F3 Knoxville has kind of had I don't know what you would call it, like a template for our AOs. Is
Okay.
most of them are boot camps. 34 out of 35 workouts are boot camp workouts. Most of the workouts happen in the mornings. A few of them happen in the evenings. I guess 3 of them. 3? I think 3 of them happen in the evenings. 32 of them happen in the mornings. But that doesn't have to be. So if you're listening to this and you are interested in helping to develop a group of men, that's what we're going to call an AO, that it meets in the evenings, great. We need more evening workouts. Because I talk to men all the time. F3 sounds perfect. I would love to have it in my life. But because of conflicts at work or whatever, my wife goes to, da-da-da in the mornings and I can't make blah, 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 blah. I would love it if there was an evening workout. I hear that all the time. Yeah. That's the number one excuse I hear from men when they talk about, I would love to do F3, but I can't, or whatever. The number one thing is the time. I can't make it at 5:30 in the morning. So I'd love to see some more evening workouts. So I'd love to plant more AOs in the evenings. The other thing is, we talked at the end of that one about, we do all these boot camps. We have one workout that's not a boot camp, and it's JUCO Rush. They just run. We could do more like that. And so if you want to start a running group, a biking group, a mountain biking group, a yoga group, a pickleball group,
that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. We could absolutely do that, man. And we just need to find a way. We need to find a way to say, how do we make that happen?
Right.
And even, there's some chatter about, well, does it have to be in the same location every single week? Because if we're going to do a mountain biking group, we don't want to ride the same trails week after week after week after week after week. So, no, it doesn't have to be the same location. We'll have to figure out some of the logistics of how that's going to work. If it's one of these moving AOs, roving AOs.
Right.
But yes, we could absolutely make that work. So I'd love to hear from some men out there who are saying, well, dude, I enjoy the boot camps, but I'd really love to start a group that does swimming or whatever. So let's do it, man.
Yeah.
Let's do it. There are tens of thousands of men in Knoxville who could use something like F3 in their life. And I say something like, we're not the answer to everything, but I don't know anything else that comes as close as F3 does. And so,
yeah,
I think it's great. I think it could really help a lot of men. And so to get to those men, we need to start thinking about making more locations, more times, more activities, and just start making it work.
That is awesome. And I hope to see that. I hope to be here to help lead that and help start more AOs, more activities, more connection, more fellowship, more everything. So once again, to close with the questions from the QSource, to let you guys think about those, discuss them in your shield locks, discuss them with your friends and in your AOs. What enables a man to do what a leader does? What makes a man what a leader is? And what is the difference between a good and a bad leader? Keep these questions in mind. Go through the QSource. This has been your weekly launch point. Kickflip, thank you very much for joining us, and see you in the gloom.
See you in the gloom, mate. Thank you so much.